Again, in the short run, we can have either positive economic profits, zero economic profits, or negative profit, which is a loss. And so we want to be able to calculate this using numbers from a graph. So first, I'm just going to draw out what this might look like in 3 different situations. So profits are going to be the difference between price and average cost over the quantity produced. Okay? So price is going to be the revenue you get for every unit. Average cost is going to be like the cost per unit on every unit. And so that difference is going to be like a per unit profit margin. And then when you multiply by the quantity that is actually sold, right, then you get total profits. All right. So in the very far left here, I'm going to show you what we get when we have positive economic profits. And so that's going to happen when we have a price line. It's going to be something like this. All right. Profit maximizing quantities where price crosses marginal cost, and there's going to be our Q star. Now, this is similar to what the video we saw on the previously, where the price, here's our average cost at that quantity that's going to maximize profits. There's a vertical distance there. That per unit, that vertical distance is our per unit profit margin. So this is like the profit we're making on every single unit we sell. If we multiply by quantity, that's the base, right? And so we're going to get, if you want to visualize profit in terms of an area on this graph, we got that area right there will be our total profit. So that the vertical distance, it will be our per unit profit margin. And if you multiply by quantity, that whole area will be total profit. Right, zero profit is going to happen when your price is going to be equal to minimum average cost. Right here. So what we have here is price equals marginal cost. That's happening because price is going to be equal to, because that's the profit maximizing quantity choice to give us Q star, profit maximizing quantity. Now, it just so happens that marginal cost is crossing average cost at that exact quantity, right? So marginal cost is going through the minimum of the average cost, right? And so what we have there then is that price equals average cost. So that difference then between price and average cost, that's going to be equal to 0. So we have no profits here. The per unit profit margin is 0, and so we say this is zero economic profit when that happens. And then the very far right, I'm going to show you a case where you have economic losses or negative profit, and that's going to happen when your price line is going to be below the entirety of that average cost. So here's minimum average cost. Our price line is below that. So our firm still wants to be profit maximizing, so they'll produce a quantity right there, I should say. Produce a quantity where price equals marginal cost, come down, get your Q star, profit maximizing quantity. Let's try to get our difference between the price and then our average cost at that quantity, and that's negative, okay? So average cost is actually greater than price at that quantity. So this is our per unit profit margin, it's just a negative number, right? And so we can multiply that by quantity as well to get an area. Whoops. To get an area here of our profit box, but this is going to be a negative number, right? This is losses. So the pink are losses in this case. All right, so what's going on, a quick rule to understand is that if over here, when we have positive economic profits, price is greater than minimum average cost. Right? And then we're going to be at a point where price is up here along that marginal cost curve. Here's minimum average cost. Right here, price is equal to minimum average cost. And we have 0 economic profits. And over on the right, our price line is less than minimum average cost, price below minimum average cost right there. And so this usually price is less than minimum average cost. And if that ever happens, we're always going to have negative profits or losses. One type of practice question I might have you calculate economic profits from is if I show you a table like this where you have output, average variable cost, average total cost, and marginal cost. All right, so this following table is going to represent cost information for a firm in a perfectly competitive industry. Assume that the firm can only produce in lots of 50 as shown. That's basically the output's just going to go up in units of 50. If the market price is $12.50 per unit, what are the firm's profits if it produces and sells the profit maximizing level of output? So once you pause here and try to calculate this on your own, and when you're ready, hit play, and I'll go through the solution. Our formula for profits will be equal to price minus average cost times that profit maximizing quantity Q star. Right. Sometimes I might just write pi. Pi is a simple notation for profit. There's no real important reason for that other than like pi, that symbol starts with the letter P, right? So P for profit. All right, so we have our price of $12.50. We need to figure out the quantity we want to produce and then figure out what that average cost is at that quantity. Right? So our quantity is going to be where price equals marginal cost. And so we'll go where $12.50, this is the closest one. You don't want to do $13.85. You don't want to produce where marginal cost is greater than price. And so we're going to be at this level here, producing 300. So we can plug in our price there. We eventually subtract off our average cost, and we can multiply it by our quantity. So we need our average cost at that quantity. So right here we have 300, average total cost column 1134. So let's subtract off 1134. And this is this, you're going to put this into your calculator, and you would get your profit pi equals $348. You should also be able to do this from a graph, right? And this is, so we have our marginal cost, we have our marginal cost curve, our average cost curve right here. I'm telling you that the price in this market is going to be $30. And so let's calculate profits at that. Let's put in a price line, orange price line at $30. All right, so things are not hitting exactly on the lines here, so we don't need to be exact. We're just going to do a little bit of rounding. Okay. Our formula, again, for profits would be pi for profits equals price minus average cost times our profit maximizing quantity. We can already fill in our price. First, let's get our profit maximizing quantity. That's going to be where price crosses marginal cost. Bring it on down. That looks close to 32. So a quantity of 32. At that quantity, we need to calculate our average cost to plug that in. So you take our quantity of 32 up to our average cost curve right there. Let's put a dot. We're looking to calculate that average quantity, bring that over. That looks like, I don't know, let's say 21. Okay. So again, you put that simple arithmetic into your calculator and you'll end up with a total profit of $288. Right, so we'll visualize this on the graph. That $288 would be the entire box here of profit. Okay. And your per unit profit margin is just this part here, 30 minus 21. So that's a $9 per unit profit margin. And we can visualize that by just that vertical distance between the price and the average cost. That purple is your per unit profit margin.